So, guys, I tell you I love this lesson, but I'm telling you passionately, I love this lesson. It is one of those lessons where it clicks and it goes, if you see a pattern, you're going to see it happen. I give you like an example of like every single thing you need to know how to do. Like, it's one of those that you're like, that's it type moments, okay? Now, I need you guys to go back for a moment and I see if any of you can give me a general definition for a circle. What would be a all right, Jade. All right, so an infinite set of points, equal distance from a center. What was the other thing that had to be in there? In a plane. So it's all the points, right, from the center here. Make sure I take it off tablet. Put it on tablet mode here. All these points, right, an infinite set of points that are the same, here's the word, distance from the center. So really, what we're using is going to be the distance formula. All right, so let's see if we can remember the distance formula real quick. Anyone know the distance formula? D equals the square root of. Yep, very good. So basically, it's the square root of the quantity x2 minus x1 squared plus the quantity y2 minus y1 squared. All right, now we're going to use that formula to derive the formula for an equation of a circle. Because what's the things we need to know about a circle? We need to know about the center, and we need to know its radius length. And so we can write an equation of a circle based off of that. So I'm going to rewrite the distance formula over here. So we can write right below it. So I have x2 minus x1 squared plus the quantity y2 minus y1 squared. Now, look at the points on our circle. It's really small, but you can see it easier on your paper. We have HK is the center. Okay, so HK is going to be the center. We're going to let that be 0.1. So those are going to be my 0.1, x1, y1. And my xy is going to be my 0.2, x2, y2. I normally try to put the bigger ones as x2, y2. Now, let's plug into this formula everything that we know. Guys, what would represent, in that diagram of a circle, what would represent the distance? What letter represents distance in this one? Isn't that r? Right? Isn't the radius, the lowercase r, represent the length of my radius? So we're going to put an r right here. Then we just got to plug in our values. What's going to be our x2? Well, our x2 is just x. Great. Our x1 is what letter? H. So that's being squared. And then I have a y2, which is y, minus y1, which is k. Squared. All right, we're almost there. How often do you want to have a formula with the square root sign in it? Let's just go there. You guys want one? No. So what can I do to both sides? Square. All right, so let's square both sides then. So let's take the time to square both sides. So I'm going to square it. So now I get radius squared equals the quantity x minus h squared plus the quantity y minus k squared equals, right? Now, look what we got here. Here's the only thing we would do different. Do you guys remember the thing called the symmetric property, which says I can switch sides of an equation? Guess what I'm going to apply? Symmetric property. This equation right here, after I do that, this is the equation of a circle. What? Why switch? It's just the typical way that they write it. It's not like life or death if you did it that way. It's just the general, more standard form that you will always write it. It's what you would see if other people were talking about the equation of a circle. When you guys work with conic sections next year in Algebra 2 and College Algebra, you will always have your parentheses squared on the left and your constant on the right every single time. So it's just the way that you'll see it. Now, let's write it down and let me give you some examples of what I mean by this. So first of all, here's the general form of an equation of a circle. We will always use the letters H and K for the center. Do you notice how they're alphabetical order? H, then K, right? So H is first, then K. Your radius, obviously, is always what? Is always going to be R. That hasn't changed. And the general equation is always going to be the quantity x minus h squared plus the quantity y minus k squared equals the radius squared. Now, let me give you some examples of this as an equation of a circle. So my first example I have for you is going to be this one right here. I have x minus 3 squared, that quantity squared, plus the quantity y minus 4 squared equals 9. Now, great representative equation of a circle. Here's the rules that you need to have. You should be able to look at that right now and tell me what the center is and what the radius is. By just using that. So I want to know what the center is and the radius is of that example. All right, the radius is what? I heard that. Radius is what? 3, because 9 represents what? R squared, right? So, all right, so R we know is the square root of 9, which is 3. Great. Notice I didn't even put a plus or minus there because the length has to be positive on that one. All right, so the radius is 3. But remember, I name my circles off my center. I have to know my center point. I heard something, what? Yeah, it's 3, 4. Why didn't you tell me a negative 3, 4? Because it's a subtraction sign, right? Kind of remember point slope form when we had this issue a little bit? But that's it. Guys, you have everything important you need to know. This is my equation. There's my information I pulled out, center and radius. Because that's all you ever need to draw the equation of a circle. It gives you everything. What is that x and y in there? Well, the x and y is just the ordered pairs I would plug in that work. Let's try another one of these because this is kind of fun. I'm a little nerdy like this. I think it's a blast. All right, here's another example of one. Oops, I don't want to highlight mode though. How about if I did one like this? I had here x plus 5 squared plus the quantity y squared equals 12. All right, is that, first of all, still an equation of a circle? What do you guys think, yes or no? I wanted to use it as an example, but it wasn't. So yes, it is an equation of a circle. What's missing is the parentheses around the y, right? Well, let's think about this for a moment. How would I get parentheses around that y? If I subtract what number from it? 0. If I had a number on there, right? So remember up here it says y minus k. Well, if I only have a y left, what was k? With me? So if you just see a y squared, that means the k with it was a 0. All right, so let's think about this for a moment. Let's do the center first. You just told me that the k is 0. Wonderful. What's your h? It's going to be the opposite of what you see in there. It's a negative 5. Why is it the opposite? Well, if I subtract a negative 5, it makes it a what? Positive. It makes it a plus, right? In my original equation, it's always a subtraction. So great. Now, what's my radius going to be? Square root of 12. Well, is that going to be an acceptable answer? You have to be in simplest form. So we're going to be 2 root 3. What do you guys think? Guess what? There is no other form of an equation of a circle. You know how in lines we had like point slope, slope intercept, standard, vertical, special case, all those? This is it. That's all. So let's have some fun and let's pull out the information, because if you can pull it out, should you be able to put it in? All right, so let's put this right above, and I'm going to actually go down through the line, guys, so you guys have to be ready to answer today. All right, so with this one, no sleeping on a Wednesday is what I'm saying, all right? So here's the equation of a circle. It says on here, find the center and radius for each circle. All right, find the center and the radius for each circle. All right, so Tommy, I'm going to start with you guys over there, okay? So Tommy Colombo, what is my center? All right, it's 0, 0. Because remember, what did we talk about? This is the same thing. If you have a 0 in there, it's just x minus 0 is x. That's why they're not put in. So my center is going to be at 0, 0. All right, JD, what's my radius? Right on. Because it's the square root of 100, so it's 10. All right, so there's your two values you guys need. Center and radius. Guys, does it make sense? All right, so have a little more fun. Caitlin, what is your center for B? Awesome, we got 2 4s come out. Again, notice this is -2, -4, but in our head, bring out the what? Bring out opposite what you think, right? So good job. So 2 4. All right, Claire, what did you get for the radius? Perfect, square root of 81, which is 9. Awesome. All right, Britta, so you get it slightly harder. What's the center for C here? Very good. 1, -1. Very easy to confuse that one. Great job. A +1, -1. Excellent. Elena, go for it. What'd you get? 4. Are you starting to see how easy circles are? All right, Tommy Gonzalez, help me out here, my friend. What's going to be our center for D? Perfect. All right, Lindsay, what's going to be my radius? Sorry, you got a harder one. Oh, getting closer. Square root of 72. What's the largest perfect square number? Help her out, guys. Don't leave her stranded. 36, right? What's the square root of 36? So it should be 6√2, right? On that one, so 6√2. Again, if I asked you for the radius is not in simplest form, it would be considered wrong. It would be considered wrong. All right, let's keep on going with this one. Paige, help me out. What is the center for E here? Beautiful. All right. Ms. Eckert, what did you get for the radius? Square root of 18. What's the perfect square number that comes out? Yep, it would be 3√2. Good, because 9 comes out, so it would be 3√2. Excellent. All right, Lydia, don't be fooled by what I wrote here, okay? What'd you get for your center? Thank you for not being fooled. All right, Ms. Geezer, what did you get for me on the radius? Very good. The square root of 40 is going to be 2√10. What do you guys think? Rough? Isn't circles the easiest thing ever? I love them. It's just like, why can't lines be this great? I had no caffeine today. I'm just that tired. All right. So it's with decaf coffee in it. All right. Sorry, Starbucks with decaf. I know it's bitter. I'm still trying to get over it. All right. So with this one, guys, you can write the equation of a circle. Now, I'm giving you the center and I'm giving you the radius. You've got to go the other way now. Okay, you got to go the other way. All right. So with this one, here's the thing I would do. I would literally label this HK and I'd always label that R, just so I remember what I'm working with. It also pays off to write an extra step if you need to. Sometimes you can write it in one step, no big deal. But like in this case, when your center is at 0, it pays off to literally go x minus 0 squared plus the quantity y minus 0 squared equals 6 squared. And then just to simplify it one more step, I know I always yell at you to go down and I'm going to cross, don't yell at me. All right, but with this one, what's x minus 0? It's what? X, so that's going to be your x squared. What's y minus 0? So that's y squared. What's 6 squared? This would be the way I want your equation to be. No. Not when it's easy like that one, no. It just, people who don't sometimes mess it up on the radius, mainly, is where they mess up. This is to help you out. Now, kind of cruel of me, I didn't give you the simplest radical form for the square root of 12, but that's not my answer, right? What do I have to do to it? Square. So the very next one, and by the way, let's make sure we write, oops, what did I do there? That was a new one. All right, anyway. On this one, make sure, you guys know how I love technology. All right. Have that on the top of the page because we're going to use that a lot. What's the next one? All right, where did I leave off? Xander, did I leave off on you here? All right. All right, so Xander, help me on this one. What would I do for B? Yeah, what did you get? Don't forget your squareds, right? Equals 12. Agree or disagree with them? Now, I'm just going to show here, because this is a video, and if someone's not in class, they're supposed to pay attention, right? And know what I'm doing. What did I do? What did Xander do? Well, remember, all he did is went like this. Y minus 3 squared equals the square root of 12 squared. Isn't that what he did basically first in his head? Yeah. And so, great job. Good equation. All right. Anna, help me on this next one. What's your equation?
The quantity of x plus 3 squared plus the quantity of y squared is 15.
Is it 15? All right, let me do this one step here. What's 3? Remember, what did I just put around that 3 root 5? Because I got to remember to square the 3, which is what? 9, and then times square root of 5 squared, which is 5. So 9 times 5 is what? 45. Common error. Guys, what's the one thing I told you to do here that will save you in college algebra and algebra 2? Use parentheses. Just overuse of parentheses is never a bad thing. It might drive your teacher nuts, but you're going to get it right then. All right. What do you guys think? All right. Let's go for it. Let's have a little more fun. Now, that's the straightforward stuff. What do you think? Remember how it took us days to get lines down? That took us minutes. In fact, it took us 15. Let's finish this up. For what value of r, so the radius, does the circle, the quantity x minus 3 squared plus the quantity y plus 4 squared equals r squared contains the origin? Guys, what's the origin? The center of the circle, right? Isn't that 0, 0? If it contains, basically they're saying like, here's my center, which is over here. What is the center at? 3, negative 4. So if this was my graph, I'm somewhere down 3, negative 4. That means my circle would look something like this. It contains the origin. Well, doesn't x, y represent every point that's on that circle? So couldn't I just take my equation here and go like this? 0 minus 3 squared plus the quantity 0 plus 4 squared equals the radius squared? Because isn't that true? Basically, I'm using the fact it's the circle equation is the distance formula. Guys, the only thing missing from the distance formula is the square root sign. That's the only thing. So when I do this, what do we get here? A negative 3 squared is what? 9. What is a positive 4 squared? 16 equals radius squared. So I get the radius squared is equal to 25. Guys, what's your radius? Yeah. Make sure I can read it though. I can do it the same way. Yeah, I can totally do this way. Not at all. Because if you already know your center, you're just plugging 2 points in and you can just do your order of operations. That's it. Let me show you what I mean by the next problem. Doing the exact same thing. It says write an equation of a circle with the center, so let's go here, let's call that HK, that contains the point 0, 5. Now, wasn't the previous problem it contains the point 0, 0? This time the only difference is it's what? 0, 5. So let's start almost where we were. I'm going to sit there and write. This is not how everyone does it. I'll tell you right now, there are some teachers who always tell you use the distance formula. I'm like, the equation of the circle is the distance formula. So why am I going to write something down more than once? So with this, this is the equation of the circle. What part do I know right away? Do I know the center? All right, so can't I write that in? X minus 4 squared plus the quantity y plus 2 squared equals the radius squared. What's the only thing missing from my whole equation? The radius squared. How can I find that? I'm going to use the point 0, 5. Can I plug that in for my x and my y? Because it's true, right? It's on the circle, so I know it works in this equation. So that's all I got to do. 0 minus 4 squared, plus we got 5 plus 2 squared equals the radius squared. Guys, what is 0 minus 4 squared? What does that give us as a value? 16. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 squared is 49. So then what's 16 plus 49? All right, now here's my question. Do I need to take the square root of this? What's the question? I want what? I want the equation. What does the equation have? R what? All right, it's the r squared. So if I have r squared, do I have to go any further? No, don't take the square root because then you have to square it again. So let's just, there it is, there's r squared. So now here's the equation of my circle. X minus 4 squared plus the quantity y plus 2 squared equals 65. All done. A little bit of fun. A little bit of fun, yes.
Usually, when you square a parentheses, don't you usually like
Why do I have to FOIL it if I can go 0 minus 4 first? And get -4. Right? You only have to do that if you have to square it. Like, remember, I want it in this form. That's the form I want. I'm not asking you to multiply stuff through. I'm not solving for anything. I'm writing an equation.
Yeah.
If you solve, you're going to be given one of those. Yeah, then you might have to do that. But this still is actually the better form. Wait till a little bit later when we're doing completing the square, and I'll blow your world a little bit, okay? It will all come together. All right, next one. Now, I will tell you right now, I probably asked a question on your homework about giving you the endpoints of a diameter of a circle. Guys, what would the endpoints of a diameter circle help me find? The radius, and what else? I heard it, louder. Isn't the midpoint of your diameter your center? So think about it. If you have a question I don't give you, think through the process a little bit. All right, now look at the next one. It says find the area and circumference of the given circle. Guys, what's the one thing about area and circumference you have to know? Can I get that if I'm given the equation of a circle? Yeah, we know that r squared is equal to 16. So when I take the square root of that, and I get r is equal to 4, I can quickly now plug and chug that into my two formulas. Do I still want you to always write your formulas down? Yeah. So your circumference is going to be 2 pi times the radius. So we get here 2 pi times 4. So it's 8 pi. And that would be, since we're doing this and it's labeled, we'll say units because they didn't tell us otherwise. The area formula is what? Pi r squared, right? So I go pi times 4 squared. That's 16 pi square units. That's it. That's how easy it is. Just pull out the information you need. You don't have to worry about the center this time, right? No. All right. Now, the one thing we have to do, and I'm going to give you 2 examples, and you're supposed to be able to handle this till the end of time, is the fact that you're supposed to be able to graph a circle now. Do you remember how we had the fastest way of graphing lines? Well, there's only one way to graph circles, so there's not a lot of excitement here, okay? But what are the 2 pieces of information I have in the equation of a circle? I have to have its what? Its center, and I have to know its what? Radius. All right, so that's what you have to pull out in order to graph. What's the center for the first one? I'm at 0, 0. Okay, what's the radius? Yeah, square root of 16, so it's going to be 4. Now, how are you going to graph it? Well, what's the number one thing that we talk about a circle with? It's its what? Center. So you sit there and go, okay, here's my center. Now it says label the center with its coordinates. Okay, here's your center, 0, 0. Then it says I have to graph it. I have to get literally a circle on that infinite set of points all the way around. Well, how do I find those infinite set of points? I use the what? Radius. I have to be 4 away no matter what, right? So here's the easiest way. It's kind of like a dance move, okay? You're going to go to the right 4. You're going to go to the left 4, right? You're going to go up 4. See if I can get it to graph on there. And down 4. And then you're going to connect it, making it look like a what? Circle. Now, here's the thing. Rounded squares don't count, people. I do get a little nitpicky about it. It's the fact, especially since you're doing this on here, some of you are good enough with your draw tool. Actually, that's not too bad. Your draw tool that you could probably draw tool it in perfectly. You know who you are. Those of you who do the draw tools, like perfect diagrams on your homework, I see those. Quit showing me up. But with that, that's all you have to do. What do you guys think? Now, here's the thing. It says label the center with its coordinates. If you don't label the center with its coordinates, I take off the full point. That's not following directions. Are you with me on that? All right. So talk to me. What would I do on the next one? I'll tell you what people do wrong on these. They don't use the centers right. What would I do? Garrett, help me out. What would I have to pull out for that, for the last example? What's my center? Perfect. -2, 1. All right. Lauren, what's my radius on this one? Perfect. All right. So square root of 4, it's going to be 2. All right, so that's where you have to be. You have to find it. Make sure you're in the right location. There's your center at negative 2, 1. If you graph the center wrong, you lose a point. Basically, I look for the radius and I look for the center when you're graphing these. So they tell us it's at negative 2, 1, but I need to do the radius. So can I do the same thing that we did before? Like go to the right 2, to the left 2, up 2, down 2, right? That's all you've got to do. And then make sure you make it a circle. What do you guys think? Easy schmeezy? All right. So